talking about. But if you have say you have a bad habit of leaving the office when you've only had 15 conversations, and then when you get home you still have to have 5 more conversations, and you have a bad habit of not finishing those conversations when you get home because your life catches you and you got to help with the kid or do whatever you got to do while you're home. How can you change what you're doing before you leave work to make sure that you're hitting those conversations, or maybe even to make sure that you do it at the end of the day? So let's use that as an example. Who has an idea for how that could be fixed? Yeah, just to get a little privacy and have a different change of environment and be less distracted by your peers or whatever it is. It's hard to sit in one place for 3 or 4 hours, right, and do the same thing. So it's a good idea. Or maybe just take a walk around the block and come back and see if you can finish up. Or maybe when you get home, if you know that like your life gets crazy when you get home and you need to still have those conversations, maybe you leave the AC in the car running and you stay in the car and make a few more phone calls from the car before you go in. Just simple things like that. Expose yourself to the things that are going to cause you to not do the responsibility that you're trying to do or the habit that you're trying to form. So how to make a habit irresistible. This is chapter 8. The second law is, of building a habit is to make it attractive. To make it irresistible, you have to make that habit attractive. You have to make it something that you really want to do, even if you know deep down that this is something that you want to change about yourself. A lot of times to form these habits, you're breaking old ones. And so to be able to do that, you have to really make that something very, very attractive, whether that means like basically habits are dopamine driven feedback loops. And so, I mean, everybody here knows what dopamine is. It's obviously a chemical that's released in your brain that makes you feel really good about something, like whatever it is. And so you have to create something that's going to cause that dopamine release. So anticipation of a reward, not fulfillment of that, is what actually causes you to take action. So if you're anticipating a reward, I know 20 conversations, the likelihood of me having at least one appointment goes substantially higher than if I were to only make 10. Everybody in here wants appointments because if we go on appointments, we're going to write contracts and then we're going to execute one and then we're going to get paid 30 days, 60 days later. These are all rewards, but it's the anticipation of that. It's the anticipation of knowing if I show up every day and do 100 phone calls or whatever you have to do to hit 20 conversations, and then I go on my one appointment, and I know if I do 5 appointments, I'm going to write 2 contracts, and I know if I write 2 contracts, I'm going to execute a contract. So, I mean, these are all rough numbers that Zillow tells us, but we know these things to be leading us to a reward of a payday, right? And anticipation of that payday actually is what drives us to create these habits, the actual, like, getting paid. We thrive on the, what do I call it? We thrive on the anticipation of the reward, not the actual fulfillment of it. So like, that's why when you actually get one under contract, you're like, okay, where's the next one? Because it was all of that anticipation to get to that point that you were thriving on, not the actual getting it. So you've already had all of that excitement, all that buildup, and then you get it and you're like, okay, I want that again. I want to feel that again. So you're already thinking like that was the dopamine release. And then you're thinking, how can I get that dopamine again? I got to get another one under contract. I got to make 20 more phone calls. I got to do this. So that's obviously work related. There's things that this can translate to anywhere in your day-to-day life. So just keep that in mind as you guys are developing these little small changes in your life. Okay, so then still in chapter 8, strategy to is to pair an action that you want to do with an action you need to do. So let's say, all right, let's say you need to, or here, let's just ask, what's a habit that we need to do? Who's someone volunteer one? Need to drink coffee. What's a habit?
I need to drink water. So
Okay.
I make my coffee,
Perfect. And so a way that you can always make sure that you do that is you probably have a place in your house that you make coffee every day, right? So you can like, yeah. But probably like a spot that you like to make your coffee. Yeah, sure. So you could always leave a bottle of water right there so that every time you're making coffee, you drink a bottle of water. That way you don't ever miss it. That's habit stacking. And you're also, creating something that you want to do and pairing it with something that you need to do. Perfect example. Thanks, Bradley. Did you have one? So you want to listen to the music and dance with your son in the kitchen, and you need to do the dishes, so you pair them together, and yeah, perfect. Moving on to chapter 9, the role of family and friends is in shaping your habits. So obviously, our environment is very much dependent on the people in it, and we actually initiate habits with 3 social groups. One is the close, the people that are closest to you that you see all the time on a regular basis. 2 is the many, meaning, mass population, what I think we're obviously driven to buy a certain pair of shoes because we see so many other people wearing the same pair of shoes or whatever. So there's that mentality. And then there's number 3, the powerful, obviously the leaders in the world, or the rich and famous, the people that we're all like kind of, I'm sure we all have our own, but people that we idolize and look up to that are considered powerful in this world. So with that being said, the culture that we live in determines what behaviors are attractive to us, and we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to a tribe. So that desire to belong to a tribe is actually going to lead us to make kind of some questionable decisions sometimes, because the reality is in human behavior, we would rather be wrong with a crowd than right by ourselves. And maybe there's certain types of people that might be outliers to that, but as a whole, like that's our human nature, is to fit in with the tribe. So if everybody's saying the sky is red, we're going to be over here with the group of people saying the sky is red, even though we know it's blue. So it's really important, to surround yourselves with people that are contributing to you having good habits in your life and doing the right things. I'm sure you guys hear about it all the time, but cleaning up the people in your tightest circle is a really, really good way to get to be where you want to be as the type of person you want to be, whether it's finance or whatever it is that you're trying to focus on in your life. I don't know if anyone's ever heard the saying that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with in everything. So like if you look around at the 5 people you spend the most time with, you probably fall somewhere in the middle of what those people make for a living. If you look at your finances, you'd be like pretty much right in the middle. It's actually pretty interesting. I find it, ever since I heard that saying, I started really analyzing it, and like pretty freaking true and scary. And it also, like, I think it forces you to look at the people in your life, and if they're not contributing in a way that's leading to the future that you want for yourself, it's okay to put some distance between you and that person or those people. Even with family, like, it doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you're trying to get somewhere in life and you don't want to be held back by a different mentality or a different mindset. So I think that's a pretty obvious chapter. I think it's easy to say, harder to do, I think is my takeaway from it, but definitely worth taking a look at in your own lives. Is there anything that I think this place is such a perfect example for this book, because if you look at the people that come in here, there's so much grind, so much hustle, so much determination. So many of us are coming from, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in the class, if anyone was there, I think most of you probably were. Colin shared a story of his previous work experience and how he never wants to go back to that. We were talking about our walls, the things when we had our back up against the wall where we don't ever want to be in that position again. I think a lot of us come here having maybe just come from that situation or been in that situation before where we felt like our backs were against the wall, and we're really trying to basically distance ourselves from that moment as quickly as possible. and I think, yeah, I mean, I think being around so many like-minded people with the same drive and determination is so uplifting and so helpful. Like I've mentioned this before, but on days where I don't feel like coming in and doing my prospecting, I love every aspect of this job, but sometimes prospecting is the one thing that you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this every day. So I just have to get here. On those days, I just have to get here. And once I'm here, I feed off you guys. So like to have all of you around me and to like give me some of your energy and your motivation is so helpful. And I think that's just the best example of chapter 9 of like surrounding yourself with the right people and the right mindsets. So thank you to all of you for that. And then the last chapter, chapter 10, how to find and fix the causes of your habits. Sorry, 1 second. I was taking notes and I ran out of time. So the inversion of the second law of behavior change is to make it unattractive. Every behavior has a surface level craving and a deeper underlying motive. So yeah, basically, I mean, every behavior has a surface level craving and a deeper underlying motive. I mean, we can use what we do every day. You come in to make your phone calls, not because you like making phone calls, because you want to sell a house. You want to set an appointment with somebody who wants to buy a house. So you come in, you make your phone calls every day, and that's the underlying motive in that situation. You don't come in to do the surface level craving of making phone calls. You come in to basically just sell a house, and we know that this path is up for us. If we do this, we will sell a house. So we show up with that underlying craving of doing that, and we do all of those things. So your habits are modern day solutions to ancient desires. We're all human. Human nature is what it is. Like there's certain things that we want, and we only. I need the actual chapter. Sorry. Your habits are modern day solutions to ancient desires, and the cause of your habits are actually the predication that precedes them. The prediction leads to a feeling. I'm kind of blanking on chapter 10. I'm sorry, guys. So let's just skip here. So habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings and unattractive when we associate them with negative feelings. Create a motivational ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. I think this is similar to the water and coffee thing, but maybe there's a way that we can elaborate on this a little bit more, and I want to maybe pull from the room a little bit if anybody has any ideas on how we could create a motivational ritual by doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. So anyone would have a difficult habit they're trying to form? Matt does. Okay. So let's think. If you want to become a runner, there's a human desire to be a part of a tribe, right? Maybe join a run club. Then you have people that are expecting you to be there, so you have people depending on you to show up. There's, it's already in the schedule because they're going to tell you when it is and where to be and when to be there. And you join a tribe of people that encourage you along the way and can give motivation and advice on how to be a better runner and what running shoes you should have and all this stuff. So it might be a good way to get back into it. Or find a gym partner. That's somebody that'll go to the gym with you 3 or 4 days a week so that you have an accountability person. But you're pairing something together where you get to spend time with somebody that you like and actually go to the gym and work out and get in better shape. So I think that's a good example. So I don't know if anybody else wants to volunteer one or try to throw an idea out there of something a habit they're trying to form, and we can try to troubleshoot maybe a good thing you can pair with it. You want to cook more. You're trying to form the habit. Okay. So obviously that's in the kitchen. What's something that you like to do in the kitchen or to do that you could do at the same time as cooking? Listen to music and dance? Why not? Something you like to do. We don't have to say it as like you're going to get completely obliterated, wasted, but you can pour a couple drinks and Yeah, and enjoy. Yeah, pour a glass of wine. You like to have the wine, and then stand in the kitchen instead of sitting at the table, like, and just cook food. So there you go. You paired two things together. Yeah, Marcus.
I have like an idea, but maybe more of a tool. In my career prior to, I did a lot of traveling. So there was this app called Meetup that offers different like things that people may be interested in. So if you like exercising, or if you like food, if you like going cars, that kind of stuff. They had different things up there that you could join, and then you know you can kind of go out and meet with these people to create those apps that talk about. So you know, in the media, it's called Meetup. So, you know, it can kind of help you get the people who have the same ideas or trying to create the same ideas.
Yeah, and again, that's like the tribe thing, right? Like people want to belong to a tribe, and a lot of times just associating with a tribe of like-minded people that are trying to achieve similar goals as you is, I think, maybe the best tool to help get you to those goals. So, with that being said, that's the end of chapter 10. I have to check with Adam if there's anything that we need worksheet-wise for next week. So if there is, just keep an eye on work chat. I'll put it in there. If not, then we'll probably be on the next 5 chapters, which would be 11 through 15. So yeah, just stay tuned. We'll put it in work chat. Thanks for coming, guys. Hope everyone's enjoying the book.